Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. It's Manchester United versus Liverpool, and from one big result towards what hopefully will be another big result. Manchester United against Liverpool. The big things for me are, one, we have to win this game. I agree with what Paul Ince said this morning. We have to win this game because the Champions League is very different to the Premier League when you've taken 1 point from 9 and you're already playing catch up. We have to win this game. It's not just about trying to be in a title race, which many of us think we can't be in anyway. It's now about not getting pulled down into this 7th, 6th, 5th and all this battle that we don't want to do. We're at home to Liverpool. We must win this game. How do we do that? Also, we'll be talking about last night in relation to what it means for the game tomorrow, as well as the echoes of Mourinho again, which are not great for Ollie, and why is Ollie unable to start Manchester United as a team that's good from the start, but is good when we go behind. A very honest analysis on what I think Solskjaer is as a manager, without being horrible, without being overhyped, without just looking at his last 3 years, which I've spent the last 2 hours looking at whilst watching us play against Atalanta again. I think I've come to terms with what Solskjaer is as a manager. Be interested to see what your thoughts are on that as well. But first of all, as well, the weekend is here, and Ultimate Fan are back sponsoring our show. So big thanks out to Ultimate Fan Fantasy League app. Ultimate Fan is a fantasy football game with a twist. Imagine fantasy football combined with a super cool pack openings. The game is super simple to play. All you have to do is be over 18 and download the app totally free using the link in the description. Follow the sign-up system and then you'll be able to start opening packs and filling in your team for this coming weekend fixtures. You win points from how they perform on the weekend. There's also Ultimate Fan Plus for you to explore. This section features paid for gold and silver packs where you can receive extra cards, exclusive content and much more. So you can get more packs and get more players if you want to do it that way. Now the interesting thing is that each week there are prizes available for the teams that perform the best, and this week's prize pool is a huge £8,500. So you can win that money if your team performs well. Last week an Ultimate Fan was another good week with our team scoring 43 points, and this week is another tough Premier League week to pick, so I need to be tactical with my team. I've packed Harry Kane, and even though his form isn't amazing, I think he's on the way back. I think I could grab a goal against West Ham. I'm also going to put Odegaard, as Arsenal need to bounce back against Villa this weekend, and I think he'll have a good game as well. And finally, I have added Pogba to the team, and I've made him my captain, so hopefully he has a good game against Liverpool on Sunday, even though I'm not convinced he'll start. I think, play him on that left-hand side, he could do some damage. If you want to check out my team, we've posted a pic on the United Stand Twitter page. If you head over there, make sure to drop your screenshots of your team in the comments of the tweet for us to check out. And if you want to take part in this week's awesome game, then hit the link in the description below and you can start playing Ultimate Fan today. It's free to play. You must be over 18 though. Thanks again to Ultimate Fans for supporting the United Stand. And now let's move on with the show. I thought I'd be on there, but I'm not. Hey, I want to be there. I'm there. Big shout out Ultimate Fan, links in the description for that. So look, on with the game against Liverpool. And I'm not going to beat about the bush there. I haven't even got Pogba in my team there, but I've got him in my Ultimate Fan team. Because I think it's just very hard to predict what Solskjaer is going to do against Liverpool. We know what Liverpool are going to do. Liverpool are in that fortunate position or good position or just, competent position where they've got a style of play, they've got an identity, they're exciting and they're successful. And they're the four things for me. I know I always have these, when I talk about transfers, I say you've got to be ruthless and aggressive. Ruthless to get the players that you want and get the players you don't want, and aggressive in getting those players in and out as well. I think with Manchester United, I've almost got 4 new words now. Identity, and I've forgotten what the 4 things I said now, but certainly style of play, exciting play, winning, and you know what they're going to do as well. So with Liverpool, you know those things. And with Manchester United, I just don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. So I've gone with the team that he picked against Atalanta, because I think that's the team he thinks. Look, he lost 4-2 to Leicester. He got loads of stick in the press. And can I just say as well, there seems to be this battle in the fan base again. And we've lived it with Van Gaal, we've lived it with Mourinho, so we're definitely going to live it with Ollie. People are unsure about what's happening. People have different opinions, but ultimately we all want the way. We're all arguing for the same thing. I mean, I can never get my hat on how people think it's right to say they're a better fan, get out of my club, your opinion. Surely opinions about different opinions. We all want the same thing. I think it's absolutely futile and thick to start saying you're a better fan than anybody else and telling them to get out your club. Since when you've got no right? You don't know why somebody supports Manchester United. You've got no right to tell somebody you're a better fan, get out of my club. You're not a better fan. You're an insecure fan. If you're so worried about what somebody else thinks, how insecure are you? I don't care if someone's Ollie out. I don't care if somebody's give Ollie a 10-year contract. I don't agree with either of those points, but I'm comfortable in what I think. I know I support Manchester United, and ultimately, I know I want us to win. And what I was going to say is that the fans in the ground against Atalanta and against Liverpool at the weekend are going to be absolutely huge. And we've seen this against Villarreal as well. The fans are massive at the moment. But I also want to applaud the fans who've been calling out Solskjaer and his coaches over the last few days, because it's not lost on me how much Solskjaer and his coaches are leaking to the press or talking about it in press conferences. They're rattled. They're absolutely rattled. They want it out there that we're not a moments team. We're a team that, we're putting the attention to detail in. That's because of the pressure that you are applying in relation to the bad results. That's because of the standards that you are setting. So yes, last night, the Atalanta game, the fans in the ground basically won us the game. But not everything's about clapping and applauding. It's also about calling it out when it's not good enough. And if you think that Solskjaer... Look, imagine if we lose 4-2 and everyone's singing Ollie's at the wheel, it's fine. He wakes up on Monday morning and he goes, what we having for breakfast, Carricky? We're fine. I'm not saying they're sleeping in the same bed. I mean, like, he's got up, he's married, he's got in the car, he's driven to Carrington. What we having for breakfast, Carricky? He's relaxed. Instead, he wakes up in reality on Monday morning and it's like he's getting it everywhere. The tactics are terrible. He's like, forget your breakfast, Carricky, it's time to go to work. So what people don't understand is that as long as we're all heading in the same path, which is we want United to win, you need everybody. You need the critics and you need the support. The support for last night in the ground, away, brilliant. But you also need Ollie to realise that people aren't happy and they're calling him out, because that will make him work harder. People don't get this. You've either got to be totally positive or totally negative. And that's why I think I operate and some fans operate in between. When we do well, I love it. When we're underperforming, I'll call it out. And ultimately, both come together because it keeps people on their toes. Whether it's somebody at work or whether it's a manager at Manchester United, if you just give them praise all the time, they'll become complacent. If you just give them negativity all the time, they'll become disillusioned. You have to keep them on their toes, praise and reward. That's how it works. So, but I don't know how he's going to pick this team. I really, really don't. And I will stand by what I said. Liverpool will come with an identity. I think this game will be a draw. I don't normally give my prediction straight away, but I think it will be a draw because... And I'm locked in here for years and years of watching United play Liverpool, whether it's at Anfield or at Old Trafford. It's a bloody hard game, and it's a really hard game to call. Liverpool have always been a thorn in our side because it's a bit of a derby. As I said before, when the fixtures come out, I'd argue that most United fans and most United players and most Liverpool players and most United fans and most Liverpool fans look at when we're playing Liverpool or when we're playing United, because it's a bigger game than Everton or Man City. It's a derby that's not a derby, but it's a huge game. Because of our history, our rivalry, our trophies, our fan base. We're very similar, but we're poles apart. And I just think it's in that sort of a game, it's a great leveller. And I think Liverpool come into this game as favourites. I really, really do. But I don't think, and I think that's not a bad thing, but I don't know how Ollie's going to approach this. And I think I'd like to see us press high up and try and exploit their defence, because I think they can see goals. I think we'll invite pressure. And I just think... we could win it 1-0, we could win it 2-0. They could win it 1-0, they could win it 2-0. But I don't see a 3-0 for either team. I don't see it. I know Liverpool have scored 3 in their last, what feels like 10 games away from home, and they have got a lot of goals in them. But I think it'll be quite tight. And I do think that the problem with this game is that if we win it, everyone's going to go, oh, Lee's at the wheel. And then we'll probably not beat Spurs and lose to City, and we'll have 4 points from 18 or something ridiculous like that. We've got 1 point from 9. So if we beat Liverpool, we'd have 4 points from 12. If we don't beat Spurs and we don't beat City, we'd have 4 points from 18. So, that's not great. So as much as we need to win this game, we need to win it, and it needs to be a catalyst to go and win more. For Liverpool, I think they could go, draw's not a bad result, winning the games around that, we're in a title race. And unfortunately, we're not in that position now. We need to win this game and win more just to try and get back and be relevant again because of the damage we've done to ourselves already. So I think it will be a draw, because I think a draw doesn't really do anything, does it? Not a bad result for Liverpool. It is a bad result for United, but not in the way that it would be a bad result that would cause a meltdown. I just think it would be, like that. So I just think it will be a draw, although we must and have to win. I think we really do. But anyway, there's a few things I want to talk about before I come back to the team. Personally, I think that's Solskjaer's best team. As I said, 4-2 we lost to Leicester. We got played off the park. He's getting all the criticism. He's getting he's under pressure. People are talking about Zidane and Conte. He's in trouble. He goes into a game against Atalanta that he has to win. He ain't going to experiment. He's going to pick the team that he trusts. That's the team he trusts. And it's not lost on me that he's gone with 2 United youth players on the wing. He's gone with another youth player in the midfield. He's gone with, obviously would have been Varane anyway, but obviously Maguire over Bay, even though he's not fit. He's got Ronaldo up front and Bruno. He's gone with players that he trusts and favours in that team. And obviously Fred's in that team as well. Interesting he didn't put Pogba in there. Obviously doesn't trust Pogba as much as he trusts everybody else. Obviously doesn't trust Sancho yet. So that is the team that he trusts in a game he needed to win. So I don't know why he would change it. But as I said, I thought he picked the wrong team. I actually think the team in the second half with the subs became the better team. I know we scored goals without the subs, but I think the team with subs, Pogba, Fred. In fact, I'll change it on screen for you now. Pogba, Fred would be what I would do. I wouldn't go with McTominay. I've not been impressed with him at all this season, so I'd go Pogba there. And I absolutely think Mason Greenwood's a generational talent. I absolutely think he's fantastic. But I would go with that. I think that is our best team for me at the moment. That is our best team. I think Pogba and Fred, Sancho on the right to give us some creativity. Because I think with Greenwood and Rashford, it's too one-dimensional. I think they're both wide forwards who cut in and shoot. And I think with Sancho, you're going to get a little bit more creativity to complement Bruno and help Ronaldo. I think with Mason Greenwood, I think he's been a bit overplayed. I think he's scored some fantastic goals, but I'm not seeing the development of Greenwood's game tactically. I think he's a fantastic player who can cut in and shoot off both feet. But I'm not seeing the build-up play. I'm not seeing the give and go. I'm not seeing the working with Wan-Bissaka. I'm not seeing enough good crosses into the box. He's definitely got the capability of doing it. I don't think we're developing his game. I don't think Rashford's game's developed much in 3 years either. I think we focus on their strengths, but we're not building other assets to their game, and they're both ballers who could build that. So I would like to see that, but maybe that's wishful thinking when we're not seeing it from the actual team. Developing individual players comes when you can actually develop a team, and we haven't even got a team template yet. And that brings me on to what I was going to talk about ahead of this game against Liverpool. I watched the Atalanta game again this morning, and I watched and I spent a lot of that time thinking about Ollie. And one of the big things that's frustrating me at the moment, obviously the tactics, and I think a lot of people have spoken about that. Scholes spoke about it, Incy, a lot of you. A lot of people are wide open to having that discussion without screaming Ollie out. I think, you don't need to be at that point. You might be on the journey to Ollie out. You might not want to be on that journey, but I think you can. Doesn't matter. I don't like the Ollie in, Ollie out conversation because it's just so toxic and it's so simpleton. Oh, you're an Ollie hater, this, that and the other. You're not a United fan, you're Ollie out. I mean, I don't agree with that anyway, but the reality is, for me, it's about standards and it's about the way we're playing and it's about why aren't we in a title race. And all of those things we're not performing in. So what frustrates me about United is, and it goes back a long time, and this is where I will pull people up. This run of bad form is not a new thing. We were talking about this a year ago when we lost to Istanbul. And amongst all those comebacks, how many times did we go behind last year and win? I mean, Southampton always springs to mind. 2-0 down at half-time. West Ham, I think we were 1-0 down, should have been 2-0 down. There's loads and loads of them, and there's a couple more this season, Villarreal and Atalanta. Go behind, come back. And I feel that when we are behind, like last night, we're 2-0 down, his job's in big trouble anyway. It's in huge trouble now. People are booing at half-time. Of course, the only thing he can do, you can't just say, let's play pragmatic long balls. That's not going to work against the team that's 2-0 up. So you're forced to play a different way. He's forced to go front foot, final third, move the ball around, create chances. And we do, and we win the game. And we've done that before. But he never does it from minute one. And he'll come into a press conference and he'll go, we need to be better from the first minute. And we'll fall for that trap. We'll go, you know what, Ollie can see what we see. We don't start games well. We're second half FC. We have to go behind before we come back into a game. But I've woken up to it. Spent time thinking about it. This is not on the players. Because what Ollie's basically saying is, I coach the players really well all week and they just don't start the game well. And I have to tell them off and then they do well in the second half. This is a nonsense because this has now been going on for at least a year where we go behind in games and then we play well. This is not the players walking on the pitch with a hangover going, oh, it's Rob. How you doing, Harry? Oh, I'm tired. I'm like, oh, we're shit. We're 2-0 down. Oh, Ollie's going to tell us off. Let's start playing. That's not what's happening. What's happening is we are managed and coached by reactive people. And when you're Manchester United or Liverpool or Man City, You are one of the biggest clubs in the country. You should be fighting for titles. And to do that, you've got to be proactive. We're reactive. And what I mean by that is we go into games thinking about the opposition. Listen to what Ollie says. Look at the results. We go to West Ham, we think about how they're going to play. We play Southampton, we think how they're going to play. We go to Wolves, we think how they're going to play. Klopp goes to Wolves, we're playing the Liverpool way and we're going to win. Going to Southampton, we play the Liverpool way. Ollie's reactive and his coaching is reactive. We spend a lot of time looking at the opposition, and what we really want to do is just not concede and nick a goal. That's what we're set up to do. Compact, counter-attack. We're reactive. Counter-attacking football is reactive because you need somebody to attack you to counter them. We are reactive. And what happens is we go behind sometimes and then we have to be proactive. And when we're proactive, we're all excited because we see what happened against Atalanta. So if you are wondering or you are trying to understand, ignore when Ollie says, well, we just keep starting games badly. That's a myth. We start games badly because we're a reactive club under Ollie and his coaches because they worry about the opposition. They adapt to the opposition. Our style of play is dependent on the opposition. We need to be attacked to counter them. We don't have a proactive way of playing football unless we go behind and then we become proactive and then we like what we see because we start attacking. And this is the problem. And if you think about it, this is the major problem, and it comes back to tactics again, because this should be being picked up by better minds than me, tactical analysts, ex-players who played the game. They should be picking up on this. We are reactive. Our style of football is reactive. That does not go hand in hand with Manchester United's history or Manchester United fans' desire to win things. You don't get many clubs winning titles who are reactive. Mourinho was quite good at it. There are others. Simeone's a bit like it as well. But really, it doesn't go hand in hand with United. But again, it's that emotional blackmail that, well, hold on a minute. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Michael Carrick, they've won Premier League trophies for United and they were United way players. But it doesn't mean because you played in a style that somebody else wanted to do that you're going to do it as a manager. What Ollie needs to do, and we've been saying it for too long, he needs to play proactive football and utilise the players that we've got, because you will get the best out of a Sancho and a Pogba in that system. But reactive football, which is the way we play, it's not going to work. And further to that as well, everybody gets excited about these comebacks. They're brilliant. I loved it. I loved the comeback yesterday. It was magnificent. And I would suggest to you, as soon as it's 2-0 to United, watch 2-0 to Atalanta. I would watch that. There's not many... A match of the day is fine, highlights is fine. There's not been many times over the last couple of years I would suggest anybody watches real-time matches back. I mean, Ricky does it all the time. I don't do it that often. But when United go 2-0 down against Atalanta, that final, hour or so of the game, I would watch it back because it was good to watch. But what I would say about that is that won't happen in 60 games. If we go 2-0 down in 60 games, we won't win even 70% of them. And to win a Premier League, you need to be... Well, tell me the percentage. What's the percentage of winning? You have to win your games to win a Premier League. Because we won't win the Premier League playing like we are at the moment with that system on my left. We won't win the Premier League and we won't win a Champions League. We will have games where we provide major entertainment and excitement, roller coaster games. But as we all know, that and Villarreal against that Atalanta and Villarreal were games that could have gone very different ways. We won them both. That's great. But you don't win titles doing that. You do win titles winning games like that, because people will say, well, look at Bayern Munich in the 99 final. We won it like that. But look at the surrounding thing. We weren't consistently playing reactive football and having to go for it. We had a style of play. We won a lot of games 2-0, 3-0, dominant Man United performances. And then you get performances where sometimes you have a bad game and you go and win it like that. But our good games are becoming games like that, where we're just having to go for it. And over a 60-game season, that's not going to work week in, week out. And I think that's what Paul Scholes was talking about last night. That's not going to work. It's great when it happens, but that's not a plan. That's not going to work over a 60-game season. And of course, as well, one of the biggest things here, 50% of your games are away from home. That's exclusive to Old Trafford. You can't. If we're 2-0 down against Atalanta, we could win 3-2, but not in the way we did it in that. That was solely down to the players and the fans. I mean, no, it wasn't solely down to the players and the fans. Of course, Solskjaer and the coaches have got a part to play. But what I'm saying is the fans and the players had a huge part to play in that. Absolutely huge. If you're 2-0 down at Anfield, you're not coming out in the second half with the crowd behind you, are you? You're coming out in the second half into the crowd against you, where they want to beat you 4 or 5-0. They're baying for blood, and the home crowd are against you. So that yesterday is fantastic against Atalanta, but there's no future in it. You can't, half your games you can't do it in because you're not at home, and there's another half again where you won't come back from 2-0 down. So it's exciting, it's entertaining, but there's no future in that. There's got to be more. There still has to be a style of play, and as I said, it goes back to having a reactive style of coaching. We're so reactive. You're never going to win trophies being reactive. You've got to be proactive, haven't you? You know, it's like if you go to a disco and you want to pull a man or a girl, or both, whatever, I don't know what goes on in discos these days. Are you going to do it sat at the bar, looking at your phone, sipping a lemonade? Or are you going to do it being a Poundland John Travolta, dancing away on the disco, chatting to people? Now, some people say, well, you can actually do it on your phone now. You could be on Tinder or something like that. Or you might just be good looking and people want to talk to you. But yeah, you might do. But I'll tell you what, if there's 10 people in a club and 9 of them are being proactive trying to meet people, they're going to have a better chance than the person who sat at the bar. And we are reactive as a football club in the way that we play football. And that is why we keep getting these results when we're 2-0 down, because we come proactive. We need to be proactive from minute one, but for some reason he won't do it. And I don't really understand why. And the third thing I wanted to say before I go back to the Liverpool game is that let's not forget, we are still echoing like Mourinho did in that third year. Mourinho finished second. The summer was key. Ollie finishes second. The summer is key. The season starts with high expectations. We've got to challenge for the title, Jose. We've got to challenge for the title, Ollie. By mid-October, there's talk of the sack. Mid-October, sack. Mourinho's going to get the sack. Gary Neville comes out. That's a disgrace. He shouldn't be sacked ahead of the Newcastle game. 2-0. I remember it. I remember Gary Neville going on Sky on the Friday night. It was fantastic. He was like, oh, the club's a joke. They shouldn't be sacking Mourinho. I didn't agree with him with that. I actually think Gary might have had a part in why Mourinho stayed a little bit longer, to be fair. But it was a very passionate plea that the club's run badly and they're sacking another manager. We played Newcastle. It had been in the press the night before that Mourinho's getting sacked no matter what. We're 2-0 down at half-time against Newcastle at Old Trafford. Everyone's like, this is the end of Mourinho. What happens? Second half, the players come out. They win 3-2. There is echoes, because look at Atalanta last night. People are talking. It's not the same, but people are talking about Ollie's not the right man. We're 2-0 down at half-time. It's looking like the writing could be starting to be put on the wall. What happens? Out the team come 3-2. What I would say is, is it going to echo even further? That was a great result against Atalanta, and that was a great result for Mourinho. He still lost his job, and we still had a crap season. So look, this brings us back to Liverpool. One result, I don't think anybody thinks last night provides anything other than a hopeful platform that can be onto something else. Ideally, we would be playing a Norwich on Sunday, because then you'd expect to win and build some momentum. But unfortunately for us, we've played the games where the momentum was there. We've played the Villas, we've played the Evertons, we've played the Southamptons, and we've dropped points. And unfortunately, there aren't any easy games now for us to build momentum. We could, I always want to play Liverpool or City rather than Norwich or somebody else. But I would put my hand up and say, after last night, you really could do with playing a Norwich at Old Trafford and just crowds behind us again. Get a couple of goals, get a bit of rhythm, get a bit of positivity, get a bit of momentum. But unfortunately, this is why we're having a bad season, because we've dropped those points against those teams. And now we've got to go and play Liverpool, and then away to Spurs, and then Man City. So it's going to be interesting. I'd hope he'd go with that team, because I think that's the best team with the best balance. But I just think it will be McTominay instead of Pogba. I think it will probably be Greenwood instead of Sancho. And the interesting thing about that is I think Sancho offers better defensive support for Wan-Bissaka than Greenwood does. I think Pogba provides better movement of the ball, which is going to be very important. What we can't have in this game is we can't learn anything from Atalanta. Atalanta and Villarreal are not good teams. They're good teams, but in relation to, we're talking about the Premier League, not the Champions League. When that Champions League group came out, I said that's an easy group. And I still stand by it. We've made hard work of it, but I still think it should have been easy work for us. People won't agree with me with this. If United were in Serie A, they'd win the league. And I know people go, you're having a laugh with Ollie, but trust me, I've been following the Serie A for years and years and years. It's a really good league to get into. It's very entertaining, and in its own bubble, it's very competitive. But Atalanta would have got beaten 4 or 5-0 by Man City last night, and I think Liverpool would have done them as well. They are wide open. I called them the Italian Leeds because they play they're a very good team to. I mean, again, if you want to watch a Serie A game, watch Atalanta. The way they play, it's like watching Leeds. Doesn't mean Leeds are a good team. It's just the way they play. It's open. And Atalanta, I couldn't believe how open they were. You know, we nearly got in so many times from a basic long ball. It was the perfect dessert for Ollie. It was absolutely the perfect team to play. And you know, we made hard work of a team that really we should have scored 5 or 6 against. So I do think that United are ahead of an Atalanta and a Villarreal, but they're not ahead of a Chelsea and a Man City and a Liverpool. And this is the reality now. We're back into the Premier League, and it's going to be very interesting because this is what matters, and this is the acid test to a certain extent. Can we do that against these sort of teams? And I just think with a team like Liverpool, if we're 2-0 down to them, we can come back, but they're not going to leave themselves wide open, and neither would Man City, and neither would Chelsea. So I do worry. I do worry about how we might set up, because I think that we're not defending well as a team. Even yesterday, we didn't defend well as a team, and I think Atalanta, as much as they were 2-0 up, we did deserve to win that game, and I don't think Atalanta played that well for the final hour of the game. I really don't. And they still could have got something out of it. Liverpool, I expect us to be up for it. I expect us to be focused. I expect us to start quick. I know the crowd will be a massive factor. And what you have got with Cristiano Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes are 2 players that can create things and score goals out of nothing. You've got match winners in Rashford and Greenwood. And I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game. I really don't. But look, I'd love to see what you lot have got to say in the chat, because I think I'm just so excited about it. We have to, what I will say is, and I know people are obsessed with this Ollie in, Ollie out thing. For me, if we lose on Sunday, I don't think I would do a match reaction going, get him out of my club, he's useless, this, that and the other. I did that with Mourinho. I did it with Van Gaal. I don't think I have that in me to do that against Ollie. I just don't. I have too much respect for him, and I like him too much. But you know what I like more? Manchester United Football Club. And it's not about players, it's not about managers, it's about Manchester United and where it should be. And I should be looking at a league table in April and seeing United at the top, and I haven't seen that for a very, very long time. And I don't care who's in charge. You know, the reality is you're there to do a job. And if we lose to Liverpool on Sunday, we will have taken 1 point from 12. That's relegation form. We'll be miles off the league title. That's sackable form. So for me, if we lose on Sunday, I probably would say I'm sad about it, but he's not the right man for the job, and we need something better. I don't think we'll be saying that on Sunday night. I don't. You know, you get a feel about a game. I felt we would not lose to Atalanta, and we didn't. And I don't feel we're going to lose to Liverpool. And I know that might come across as naive, but you know, I might be right. I mean, there was one of these out of context Twitter accounts yesterday when I put a tweet out saying it's like playing the Italian Leeds, they're wide open. We went 2-0 down and they didn't wait, and they tweeted it and tried to make me look a twat. I can do that myself. You don't need to, but do wait 90 minutes, because actually it was spot on. And anybody who watches football and tactically analyses football, you could see from minute 1 the way Atalanta play. They're wide open. We mentioned it in the preview. They are and were a perfect game for Ollie. What's Ollie's perfect game? Leeds at home. He loves Leeds at home because they come and play expansive. Old Trafford's a big pitch, and if you've got the crowd there, it's even easier, and we exploit it. a manager that's reactive and wants to play counter-attacking football wants to play a team that's going to attack them, commit numbers and leave space at the back. Hardly anybody does it. But fortunately, we've played 2 of them already this season. Leeds do it and Atalanta do it, and that's perfect for us. I don't think Liverpool will do it. I certainly don't think Spurs will do it, and I don't think Man City will do it. So, 3 big tests that have to be more than counter-attacking and hitting long balls. And hopefully we will see that on the weekend. But if it's McTominay and Fred in midfield, I thought Fred played well. I will shout it out. When somebody does well, I will give them credit. I don't have an agenda against any player. It might feel like I do because they consistently play badly. And with Fred this year, I've called him out game after game. I think he's been terrible. But actually, against Atalanta yesterday, I thought he played well. And I'll applaud it because he might be able to build on that. McTominay, I think he's had a poor season, but Ollie's obsessed with him. I would put Pogba in there. And Greenwood, I would put on the bench, not because I don't like him, but I just think Greenwood and Rashford are the same. You can't have 2 wide forwards who just want to score goals. Like Salah and Mane score goals, but they're so creative as well. Their intention is not always to shoot. They're creative players. They've got the perfect wide players, Liverpool. We haven't at the moment, and this is why I would balance it and play a Sancho off the right, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, make sure you smash a like on the video. We're back at 8 o'clock. Subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Give Ultimate Fan a go. It's free to play. You must be over 18, but give it a go. It's a good old game. And thanks everybody for watching. What's your score predictions is getting below. How do you think Ollie goes into this game? And what do you think about what I said about him being a reactive coach? Have you analysed Ollie in your mind and come to the same opinion as me, that the reason we are like we are, the reason we need to go behind in a game to play well is because we start every game worrying about the opposition, not having our own identity. Reactive United. You can only play counter-attacking football if you are reactive because you're dependent on how the opposition play, which is why Ollie talks about the opposition so much, because he needs them to do what they're doing so he can react to it. We're not proactive unless we're 2-0 down. Thanks for watching. Smash a like on the video. I'll speak to you all in a bit.